Hey YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to another video, and today we are talking about that topic. Yes, the topic that we all love and hate, actually probably just hate, but busy season. And specifically, we are going to be talking about how you can make it a little bit more manageable for yourself. And a full disclosure, this video is probably aimed at people entering their first busy season as an associate, maybe their second, maybe the first one didn't go so well, but chances are if you've been at the Big Four for a few years or any public accounting firm in general and you survived a couple of busy seasons, you probably have already found out what works for you. And these are my 5 tips to surviving busy season. And this is how I made my life a little bit easier and how I tend to manage things. So, and first and foremost, full disclaimer, a lot of this is going to be contingent on a factor that is a little bit outside of your control, and that is the factor of your team, right? So if you are on a good team with, let's say, a solid tone at the top in terms of they have grounded expectations and reality of how much you're actually going to work, they have a really good project plan, you have good seniors, a good manager on your team, that's going to make your life much easier. It's going to be night and day between that with a good team that has a positive foundation and good individuals from top to bottom, as opposed to a team that's very disorganized or someone who at the top maybe doesn't really have realistic expectations of what can be expected from a work-life balance or a workload balance, that kind of thing. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's get right into it. First and foremost, number 1 is the importance of your mental approach and your perspective of a busy season. So if someone in my office has this saying, and I actually think it's kind of corny, but I really like it because it really is true when you think about it, and that is you can't let busy season own you. You have to own busy season, right? So when you signed up for the shop at the Big Four or any public accounting firm in general, you knew that there was going to be a time of the year or times, I mean, let's be honest, busy season isn't always necessarily strictly from January through April. Clients have other year ends, there's other tax deadlines that you have to meet, so that's a whole nother video for another topic. Getting back on point, when you signed up for this job, you knew that there were going to be times, there were going to be weeks, months with long hours. It's just something you knew, right? So at this point, what good does it do you to sit there and be miserable and pout because you are where you expect it to be, right? It's a fact of life, it's a matter of the job. And I think it's important to realize that for most of us are not going to go the partner route. So it's really easy to get stuck into this train of thought that this is what your life is going to be like forever. No, the reality is most people stay in public accounting 2, 3, maybe 5 years. Is that really so bad to have a few times throughout 5 years of your life where you might have to work a little bit more? Personally, I don't think so, especially when you think about the benefits beyond public accounting, particularly if you work at a Big Four or another big regional mid-market firm that carries some credibility and reputation with you once you leave. So that's the first one, but it really is a big one because your perspective, your mentality makes all the difference in the world. If you go into it thinking you're going to be miserable and that you're going to hate your life, guess what? You are going to be. Whereas if you go into it and you think, you know what, yeah, this is going to be tough, but we're going to make the best out of it. I'm going to crack jokes with my team, at 8 o'clock at night when we've been here for 12 hours already and I'm tired and I want to go home, but we're all in this together. That's something that I think isn't talked about enough about public accounting, and sure, it might be trying to look at the glass half full, but when you're there in busy season, you really do get close with the people on your team, and it actually can be kind of fun when you're there all day and you guys come up with things to do. Like my team, we had a golf tournament last busy season where we had a putt-putt tournament after every dinner, and we also played this game called GeoGuessr. There's just random things that come up where you make it more manageable, right? I guess that can be said. Point number 1, busy season is what you make it. Don't let it own you. Own busy season, in the wise words of an associate in my office. Okay, moving on to number 2, and that is the importance of disconnecting. And this kind of goes back to the point I talked about before I get into everything of having a good team with a good tone at the top, because this is something my director stresses on my team is you have to disconnect, right? So if you're working these long hours and you go home and you just go right back to working, you're going to burn out very, very quickly. And by the time filing comes around, you're going to be like, nope, this is it. I'm putting my 2 weeks in and I'm going to industry, or I'm going to do something else. Granted, there will be times where you might have to go home and you might have to work when you get home, or you might have to work late on the weekend or something like that. But if you never take time away, if you don't disconnect, if you don't turn your phone off, if you don't put your laptop away when you're home for a decent amount of time, or at least some of the time, you're gonna burn out, plain and simple. And actually part of this actually falls on yourself as well, that you can, in terms of what you can do to mitigate this risk of not being able to disconnect. You'd be surprised when you look around how many people are honestly just not working that hard during busy season. You know, like, I think they kind of get caught up in this mentality of, oh, well, I'm going to be here all day anyway. Like, what's the point of rushing through and getting through my work papers as quickly as possible? And no one's saying that you have to rush or get through things as quickly as possible. But at the end of the day, if you're fooling around, if you're on your phone, if you're doing anything other than work for a considerable amount of time throughout the day, guess what? That ultimately means that you're significantly raising the risk, the chance that you're going to have to work outside of your already even longer hours during busy season. So take it seriously, get your work done, put deadlines on yourself of when you want to get certain tasks done. That way, when you go home, you can disconnect, even if it's at 11 or 12 o'clock at night. You can just go home, watch TV for an hour, you can go to bed, you can actually get some sleep, because I promise you, if you don't disconnect, your time in public accounting is going to be short unless you're just purely a workaholic, and some people are. You might be one of those people. I'm not. But if you don't disconnect, you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out very fast, and your time in public accounting will not be very long. Okay, so number 3, getting more to a health/financial aspect, and that is the importance of packing your lunch, right? And I think the biggest reason why I say this is a important tip to survive busy season is because in all likelihood, your diet is going to be absolutely terrible during busy season. Why? Because when you're there with a team and you're ordering dinners, guess what? Most of the people picking those dinners are 22, 23, maybe 25, 26 years old. So they're all in their mid-20s. Chances are they still eat relatively similar to how they ate in college. They might not necessarily have the most mature or palatable diets, for lack of a better word or better way to put it. And let's be honest, when you're working long hours, sometimes you're just like, screw it, I want to eat what tastes good. I want to eat good food. So long story short, a lot of the dinners that you're going to eat with the team are going to be really bad. They're just not going to be very nutritious. They're going to be high in fat. They're going to be high in sodium. And it will catch up to you at the end of busy season, I promise. Unless you find ways to eat healthier. You can pack your own dinner if you want. I don't, personally, because I look at it as I'm getting dinner for free. That's a huge way for me to save money. And yeah, but that's getting off track. And the other part of the whole diet thing is, chances are your audit room, or I don't know what I guess tax people don't have a room, they just work wherever, but my audit room was always fully stacked with snacks. So we had like snacks from like the floor to like up to here, honestly, against one side of the wall, where we just could like go and like pick whatever we wanted throughout the day. And when you're snacking like that, combined with bad meals at dinner, it's going to catch up with you. So make sure you pack your lunch, because this is the one chance you have where you can eat something that maybe isn't absolutely terrible for you, along with, I guess, breakfast as well. Some people might say, oh, well, everything's paid for during busy season, I might as well go just get lunch every day. But also think about how much money you could save if you're packing your lunch when you don't really have to spend money on any other food during busy season. Just something to think about. Okay, so number 4. Getting into the actual work, and this is really important, guys. This is a hard lesson I learned, and I think this is a lesson probably a lot of people learn when they join public accounting firms, whether it's audit or tax, and that's the importance of staying organized. And this was a hard lesson I learned because I was working on multiple clients during my busy season, so I was actually working on 3 different clients. And as support was coming through, I was just downloading them and saving them, and I wasn't creating folders. And I can't tell you how many times my senior or someone on my team would ask me for something and I just had no idea where to find it. And then it's embarrassing to have to go back to the client or to go back to your senior and be like, hey, can you send me that? Like, I'm totally sorry, I just completely lost it. So stay organized, create folders, create specific folders, find a system that works for you, because not only is it going to look better for you if you're organized and you don't have to go ask for things that you've already been given, but it's also going to allow you to get your work done more efficiently and at a higher quality, if that makes sense. Okay, and then finally, number 5, this one is important as well, and this one is more of an abstract, not necessarily relating to work, but more of the whole big picture. And that is the importance of setting expectations with your friends and family, right? So just tell them straight up when busy season is coming, like, hey guys, this is it. You know, busy season, you know what this means. Chances are, hey babe, I'm not going to be able to be home for dinners for, you know, the next couple of months, or take it the next step and say, hey, I'm not going to be home for dinners for most nights, but let's go ahead and mark Thursday night as the night where I find a way to leave early if I can, or even if I don't, we just find time to spend together. Or tell your friends you're not going to be able to hang out as much, because if you set expectations, it's going to be easier on them, because believe it or not, busy season, especially if you live with a significant other or if you have friends or family you're really close with, they might not necessarily be able to understand why you're working so much and what's going on. And if you just set the expectations, not only is that going to be easier for them, but I can tell you, for me personally, as a partner with my girlfriend, my significant other, it lessened the guilt that was on my shoulders in my head when I worried about, well, damn, this is terrible. You know, like, she is alone all the time and I just feel really bad. You know, once I gave her the expectations, I let her know what was happening. She took the time to go, she made sure she planned dinners with her friends, she planned dinners with her family. That way she wasn't just sitting here alone all the time, and I was able to not necessarily have to worry about it when I was at the office 4, 5, 6 nights late out of the week, okay? So that's it. Those are my 5 busy season survival tips. I know it's not the most fun time of the year, but I promise you, you can learn a lot and you can get a lot out of this time of year if you put, you get out of it what you put into it. I guess that's the best way to summarize this video. So just to go over a quick summary of my tips. Have good perspective. You know, how you view things and how you approach things makes a huge difference in terms of how you actually feel about them and how you get through to the other side. Make sure you disconnect. Do your work while you're actually at work. That way you can disconnect when you get home. Pack your lunch. Save yourself some money, as well as save your body some wear and tear from the busy season diet and the lack of exercise and athletic movement that you probably will experience during that time of the year. Stay organized, create folders, find a system that works for you, and then finally set expectations with your friends and family. That way they can understand and you don't have to have this sense of guilt or weight on your shoulders when you're working late. All right, well, that's about it. And until next time, if anyone, actually, you know what? If anyone has busy season stories or horror stories, or if you don't know what to expect of busy season, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear. Yeah, all right, that's it. Trying to get better at closing these videos, but I don't think I'm really getting much better.